People who work in the wedding marriage industry, what is the craziest drama you've experienced at a wedding? I wasn't working that weekend, thank the Lord, but bride asks for money only as wedding presents. During dancing, she sneaks over to the basket full of the envelopes and opens them up, counting her take. It's less than she hoped, so she calls the police, gets the DJ to stop the music, and accuses the waitstaff of stealing her gifts, lines up the guests, asks each one publicly how much they gave her, screams at the police when they arrive to do something, sues the restaurant, or at least was threatening to when I stopped working there. That's so insane. When I get a card with money and a check in it, I always try to pretend that I'm not trying to see how much it is and that I'm just really into the card. I can't imagine doing something like that. I attended a wedding where a coked out bride fired the DJ 30 minutes into the reception and just played her iPod the rest of the night. It was a huge fancy wedding, not a backyard thing. I don't work in the industry, but attended a wedding where this happened. My co-worker was having her wedding on a public beach in Southern California. They weren't able to reserve anything, just make do with it the best that they could. Well, right before she was due to walk down the aisle, a homeless man stumbles into the group of guests and passes out midway into the aisle. A couple of guys go over to get him to move, but the dude wasn't waking up. Ended up giving him CPR for a solid 20 minutes while waiting for the ambulance. Didn't hear anything else about him after they carried him off the beach. That's like the worst omen ever. I'm a wedding officiant. The worst I saw was the venue manager punch the DJ square in the face, splattering blood all over the bride's dress. The venue manager was drunk and didn't like that particular song the DJ was playing. The bride thankfully laughed it off as the groomsmen carried the kicking and screaming venue manager to the door and literally threw him on his ass out the door of his own venue. The venue owner was then called and came to take the manager home. The venue owner gave them 50% off the rental cost on the spot. The bride and groom couldn't have been happier. Was the manager a wedding guest because you don't effing drink at work? Wedding DJ here. Bride was looking for groom to do the first dance. Took them about 30-40 minutes to track him down. He was barfing in the bathroom. When he came back into the hall, he smelled strongly of weed and had clearly been drinking heavily. They finally got him out of the bathroom. We start the first dance and he's clearly in bad shape. Bride starts lecturing him throughout their first dance. True love. I worked at a wedding reception for 4 years and boy do I have a lot of stories. However, I'll try to condense it down. 1. Probably the one that was the most fricked up. Bride and groom are middle-aged with a few kids already, one being an 8-year-old boy. Towards the end of the night, we witness the groom and the father of the children beating the crap out of a guest. After breaking up the fight, we learned that this guest had attempted to molest the young boy, son of the groom, in the bathroom. It was the worst thing we have ever experienced there, and I felt terrible for the kid and the parents. We had to hide the man because the guest literally wanted to hurt him, but regardless of what we thought, we couldn't let that happen. So the guy's in our office area where I'm working and he is with the woman he came there with, and judging from the nature of their conversation I gathered that this was not the first time he had acted inappropriately towards a kid and she seemed to just accept it. I was seething and it ended up going to court. We gave statements. 2. We had a wedding cancelled a few days before due to cheating. They still hope to get a refund. 3. The obvious pants splitting. The groom needed an emergency set of pants after splitting them just before the ceremony. 4. A lot of fights have happened. People getting drunk and angry is too common. From what we gathered, there was animosity between two halves of the groom's family and it ended with a huge fight between brothers and uncles in the car park. 5. Someone's grandma had a heart attack mid-reception and had to be taken to hospital. Worked as a server at a place that did occasional wedding receptions. At one event, the staff was asked to see if anyone knew where the bride was, as no one knew where she had gotten off to and hadn't been seen recently. She was quickly found in a bathroom stall, completely passed out, still holding a bottle of wine. Occasional wedding DJ here. Nothing too wild so far, but at one wedding I worked this summer, everyone was super cool except the maid of honor, who sucked. I arrived to set up and she was alone in the little DJ alcove, shoes off, reading a book, while everyone else was enjoying cocktails below. Okay, maybe she just needed a break. I tried making polite chit chat and asked her about the ceremony. She kind of made a face and said it was weird that her best friend was married. Every other topic I tried had similar results. Every glass was half empty for this girl. Dance time rolls around and I'm playing the music the bride and groom requested, but maid of honor doesn't like it. Keeps coming up and yelling in my ear that no one is dancing. Everyone hates the music, etc. Not true. They weren't a super dancey crowd, but there was never an empty floor and the bride and groom were having fun. I always have a pen and paper handy so people can write down their requests. Ma writes down a list of 7 or 8 songs, to be played in that order. Wildly different songs from what the clients requested, BTW. Think hard rap and club bangers that would absolutely horrify the older guests, when the clients mostly wanted stuff like Group Love. Comes back up to yell at me and demand I play her songs 1 or 2 more times. I tell her I'm getting there. Finally comes to a head when I start playing a Donna Summer song that a very polite and sweet young groomsman requested. He and his friends are dancing away having a grand time. Maid of honor storms into my alcove, gets in my face, and goes, "What is this? I thought I told you to do this," pointing to her dumb playlist. I wish I could tell you I headbutted her or something, but I just told her I was going to stick with the bride and groom's requests and she finally fricked off. The bride was so sweet and chill. No idea how the two of them were best friends. Oh sweet sweet jealousy. Don't work in the wedding marriage industry, but my husband's best friend's wedding was a crap show. The groom ended up getting so drunk he passed out on the dance floor during the reception and had to be taken to the hospital to get his stomach pumped. The wedding actually happened a few months after the bride was caught cheating. She ended up getting pregnant by the guy she was cheating with twice after the wedding. And no, they never got a divorce. The groom is taking care of 3 kids that aren't his. Not drama, but definitely off-putting. At one wedding the maid of honor made a 25-minute long speech full of cheesy platitudes, including a 10-minute foray into penguin love. Just awful. If you consider that they only had the venue for 5 hours, a full 10% of the time was spent on this god-awful speech. I witnessed a fight between the groom and an ex-boyfriend moments before the bride arrived. They said their vows and got married all whilst the groom's right eye started to swell up. The cake was delicious though. I worked in event planning for about 10 years, and it was almost entirely weddings. The most dramatic would probably be the time the groom discovered he was allergic to horses as he was being pulled down to the gazebo by several horses. We had to call an ambulance. He was okay after they got him some antihistamines, and his face was so swollen they couldn't take any pictures. Nice people. They were shockingly calm about the entire ordeal. I have so many stories. If anyone has questions or would like a specific type of drama, let me know. I used to work at a wedding venue as a dishwasher. Once the father of the bride refused to pay, and on the night of the wedding he looked at my boss and told her he wasn't paying for crap. He said things were wrong and not the way they were supposed to be, but everything was done to his specification. Without skipping a beat, my boss turned around and started telling everyone to go home. He quickly changed his tune and paid. Bride and her mother did a cake testing. We designed a wedding cake for bride. All details are decided. Bride leaves happy. Mother of bride comes back alone to change design of wedding cake because the mother did not like the design the bride picked out. We told her, sorry, your name is not on the order to make any changes. Mother of bride walks out and slams the door. The Mennonites are my favorite people to rent out the church to. They always leave the church better than it was before they came. Yeah, we have let a Jehovah's Witness family use our barn for a wedding and it was the same. Never been so tidy. I sing in a wedding band and we always get requests for the first dances. The most unusual one was a mother-son dance, groom and mom. The song requested was The Lady is a Tramp. This could be something from Arrested Development. I'm not in the industry, but when I got married there was another couple that was married the same day at the resort. The bride got into a fight with her future mother-in-law the night before. Physical fight, and a physical fight with her husband the day of the wedding. She looked miserable right after the wedding and all her guests stayed in their rooms with their custom do not disturb signs on their doors the entire stay. When we met other people at the resort and told them when we got married they had shocked looks. We had to say we're the couple that got married and don't get into domestic violence issues. professional singer here. I was asked to sing at the wedding of an old friend about 10 years ago. The ceremony rehearsal and subsequent dinner was great fun and I had a good time meeting all the fun people in this huge, elaborate wedding party. A cute groomsman caught my eye and, after getting super drunk at the rehearsal dinner, we stumbled back to my apartment that was a few blocks from the restaurant and hooked up. He was totally hot and very fun, and we had great chemistry, considering we had never met before. He didn't stay the night, which was fine by me, and we didn't exchange numbers or anything. That morning, as we were all getting ready for the ceremony to start, he took me aside and said, "So, you're gonna be cool, right? Because my fiancé is here." I was horrified, not wanting to ruin my friend's wedding ceremony with a spectacular drama fest. I kept quiet until the reception, where I got super drunk and, thereby, lost all my decorum. I'm 6 years sober last month. I wrote a note on the back of a program and gave it to the fiancé before I wobbled back home. I later heard there was crying, screaming, and punching. PSH. I would have done the same thing. Good for you for letting her know and congrats on your sobriety. I'm a wedding photographer, and at one wedding, the bride went to put on her dress and it didn't fit. It was a corset back with the flap that pulls across under it, but she had gained weight and the flap didn't go all the way across her back anymore. Full stop. Her mom started hysterically yelling at her daughter saying she warned her she was getting fat and should have stopped eating so much. The bride is in tears and mortified. I had to kick the mom out of the room and take control of the situation. Luckily the hotel sheets were a close enough ivory, so we cut a piece from the sheets to use as the fabric under the corset threading and it was passable. I kept the mom away from the poor bride all day. Above and beyond the call of duty, on behalf of married people everywhere, thank you. The caterer got drunk at the reception. This was before food service and at least partly on the alcohol purchased by the wedding party. He may have had some beer in one of his coolers too. The food was at least an hour late and not good. Supposedly the people he had coming to help serve bailed on him, so his girlfriend came to help. She was wearing a dress that barely covered her cheeks and he was enjoying being able to get very handsy with her. Yes, those were the same hands prepping the food. He got very drunk after food was served and took the mic from the DJ and proceeded to propose to his girlfriend at someone else's wedding when he was supposed to be working. Someone from the crowd shouted out, "But I saw you with another girl Thursday." He left the sink full of dirty dishes, an inch-deep puddle of chicken juice in the fridge, coolers of food outside, and had to leave his truck trailer because he couldn't drive home. He then denied leaving the mess despite the photos of it. We don't have a preferred vendor list, but we have a list of one vendor who isn't welcome back. This sounds like the plot to a half-decent sitcom episode. I used to help out at my church with weddings and I had the cutest drama ever. Two little boys were ring bearers and it was time for them to walk down the aisle and the littler one, probably 3 years old, just stood there. His older brother, probably 5 years old, nudged him to go and the little one turned around and pushed him back. So the older one pushed him and they fought and wrestled and pushed each other the whole way down the aisle. I found that hilarious. I am not so sure the bride did though. Never work with kids and animals. W.C. Fields. 3 of the bridesmaids got absolutely sloshed during the wedding reception and let it slip that they had a foursome with the groom at his bachelor party the week before. The mother of the bride found out and told the rest of the parent table as well as the entire bridal party. Needless to say, it was a pretty tense dinner service. The bride told staff there would be an annulment the next day, an unfortunate way of spending $60K in one evening. Worked in the industry for the last 6 years at a resort. This doesn't even scratch the surface of things I've had to deal with, lol. I need more. This crap is like crack to me. You have been visited by the fashion doggo. Comment your envy strengthens me so you always look beautiful. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.